We're ready now. I want to know what are some of your early childhood memories of being born and raised in this part of Carroll County?
Well, being born here in Carroll County, first off, my name is Bill Hudson, and I've lived here in Carroll County all my life. Being raised here was, I guess, quite an experience. This is a church that we went to. As was previously stated, we knew what we could do and what we couldn't do as far as our race went. It was interesting because even though we weren't integrated, the friends that we did have, it was just like family. We'd come to church here on Sundays and spend all day worshiping, and when we weren't worshiping, we were fellowshipping because we used to have picnics here, and it would take all day long enjoying everybody's company. So it was an experience here in Carroll County that I don't think you'll find in a lot of places.
Yeah. Okay, my name is Roscoe Gassaway, and this is my church. Like Billy was saying about the picnics we had, you'll never find that again, And you come all day, and everything went along fine. But like I went to school, first school at Johnsville, up to 6th grade, and then I graduated from Robert Merton, and that was in '63. But in the 6th grade at Johnsville, we had integration of a guy and a girl there. But I think they went to Robert Merton about 1 or 2 more years. Then I don't know what happened to them. But I've never really had no bad time and experience of nothing like segregation, anything like that.
My name is Gary Hudson. I remember White Rock Church. I'm one of the trustees, and I recall when we was kids, my mother and them would get together and we would walk to church every Sunday morning. Come to Sunday school, then sometimes we wouldn't get home till 7 o'clock at night. And like the rest of them, we never had no trouble, nobody bothering us as we walked from and to church. We never had, in fact, I can't remember having any problem with the whites back then. Like Roscoe said, we caught the bus here in front of my house and went to Johnsville, left Johnsville, let the kids off that went to elementary school, then we left and went to Robert Merton. Sometimes in the wintertime, we get to Robert Merton, school be closed. And we sometimes be dark before we get back. We didn't have the luxury the kids got today. As soon as a little snowflake comes, school's closed. We had to get out and go. And then we had the old potbelly stove. A lot of times us kids would have to put the coal or the wood on the stove to keep warm in the wintertime. And I was employed at Springfield Hospital for 34 years. I retired in '96. And I really didn't have a racial problem over the hospital that I can recall. We got along very well. And like the previous ones here, we had a store down sites where we all went to. But as far as really having any problem with the whites, we didn't, as I know of.
Tell us a little more about the involvement of your families with this church.
Well, my grandmother and grandfather came to this church. My father and mother came to this church. I remember when I was a kid, as Gassaway stated earlier, we all came out here and plowed up the cemetery, raked it all off, and planted grass seed on to make it look as pretty as it is now. And before we add on to the new part, we had a we call it community building, set aside the church. It was an old, they said, I think, old army building. And my father and a couple other people, they put it together. And we used that for our community hall. And so we did fine back then. We had parking lot was dirty. Was dirt, and the women kind of got a little mad because the high heels would go down the side of the, what's the name. So we finally got together when we finally got a men's course, and we raised a little money. We blacktopped the parking lot, and then we had a new part onto the church and all. But it was very interesting coming to church. Had a good time. Sometimes you fall asleep, but still.
Goes back a little further. He just mentioned grandfathers, grandmothers. Our great-grandparents were here. And of course, church to us was something that was natural. You know, wasn't any fighting or arguing, are you going to church today or not? You just got up and got yourself together. And as previously stated, well, as you know, he and I are brothers, so it meant we lived in the same house, but we walked at least 4.5 miles every Sunday to come to church. And again, spent all day. But this church is a very integral part of our lives. Without it, I don't know where we would be.
And the cemetery.
Yes, if you notice, the cemetery is right out alongside these walls, and all of our families are buried there. And as stated earlier, it used to be nothing but growth out there. And the Boy Scouts back then, when we were Boy Scouts, along with some of the parents, we got together and redid the cemetery and replanted it back in grass, and it's been kept like it is right now. I guess this goes back 40 years, I guess.
The jobs your parents did.
Well,
Can you talk
our
about
grandparents worked on the railroad, but our immediate parents, they worked for the state government, either Henderson Hospital and Springfield Hospital.
And your mom?
She did days work for the white families here in Siceville. She'd get up early in the morning, get us together for school, and then she'd go off and clean their houses, prepare their food, come back in the afternoon and do the same thing in our house, and help us with our homework, put us to bed, and start all over the next day.
Yeah, my father, he worked at the hospital at Hamilton, and my mother did day work like on the farm, you know, but like Billy was saying, you just come back home, do the same, start all over again, you know, do the same thing every day, you know, so, but I don't know, it's just, you know, it's like I say, you'll never bring back the time from this church back years ago, because, you know, there's so many memories, like you used to come out here to, especially when they had the picnics, get the little block ice creams, you know, and the thing. It was really good, but like I say, I never had no problem about nothing when I was young. So.
Was it potluck? Did everybody bring tell us about the picnics?
They did it in the little social hall we had. They fixed the food out there, and then we had a little thing out in front of the yard there. They bought the food, some of the food out there. We had popcorn one lady sold, and they had soda they sold, and they had dinner that you could eat. And we would play over in this field here. The man would make sure the wheat or barley, whatever he was planting, would be cut so we could play ball over in the field over there. So we would play softball over there and have different games we played. And a couple of years we had a little parade. We started down the Stricker Road, came up past the church, and had a queen, stuff like that we had. So.
Which of you had family that was in this church when it started back in 1868?
Probably be the Gassaways.
I can't say, but you know, I can just, you know, like Uncle Charlie, he lived on the Motts Road. Y'all was talking about that, and Cousin Wilbur, Rubottom, he lived out there, and But like I said, it's some older people too. I can't remember the names. Used to live out there, but and then my grandmother and grandfather, I'm quite sure they came here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tell me about your elementary school, where you went to elementary school and what it was.
Well, I started out at Johnsville. It was a 2-room school at that time, and grades 1 through 7. We had 2 teachers, and then we built, not we, but the county built a new school in Johnsville, which was, I think, 4 rooms at that time, 4 classrooms. And we still went to grade, up through grade 7. And from there we went to Robin Moten High School. Our day would start out probably 7 o'clock in the morning to catch the bus. And we'd get to Robin Moten by the time the first bell rang for class. And as was earlier stated, if it was a bad day, we'd still be on the road going to school, and the white kids would be on their way coming back. And we'd find out once we got to Robin Moten that school had been closed 3 hours ago. So it was a trip that we had to endure.
Yes.
Bus is cold, you know. And
But you had one school bus. How many school buses did you have for the black children in this area?
1.
yeah, right here in
Yeah.
this area was 1.
That was Mr. Frank
Frank Smith.
Smith.
Yeah.
Mr. Betty Dodson.
So he did the elementary school deliveries and the Robin Moten High School deliveries.
Yeah,
Right.
Did them both.
did them both.
He'd drop the elementary kids off, and he'd pick up some other kids at Johnsville. Johnsville, and then we'd all go to Robin Moten and Westminster.
But what happened to the rest of the county?
Well, they had school
They may
buses.
have a school bus.
Yeah, they
around
had,
there.
right, Mount Airy, Union Bridge,
Okay.
Yeah.
and Tonytown. I don't think they had a school bus, but because it was only, I think, at that time, maybe 1 or 2 black families in Tonytown. So they may have probably a station wagon just to bring those children down.
Did you have any interaction with students from other schools, white schools?
We used to play sports with them. Sometimes it was okay, and sometimes it wasn't, because we had a pretty good basketball team. Sometimes we were undefeated playing basketball, because after the games we had to fight to get out of town. But those were probably the only times we came in contact with the other schools. Now, however, we used to have a choir. I can't think of what they called us now, but graduations, they would get us to come and sing at their commencements. So we were good for something.
All right. Was this your high school
Yeah.
choir?
High school choir. Yeah.
Do you have family that's grown up in other places that you could compare your experience in Carroll County to their experience at other places where they grew up?
Well, we have cousins who grew up in the cities. I guess as we grew up in our early ages, they had more opportunities, particularly in school, than we did. Our school years consisted of opening up a history book, and you get to page 134 and there's no 135, 6, or 7, because the white children had torn the pages out of the books and they gave the books to us. As far as sports goes, I'm pretty sure they had equipment to play football. I mean, only football we could play was touch. You didn't do no tackling on those rocks that we played on. So those are the kinds of things that we didn't have that the inner schools probably had.
Are you saying you did not have ball fields, athletic
We called
fields
it a
to play
ball
on?
field, but it was a rock field. I mean, it was hard. And if you tackle somebody on that field, you got more than a tackle. But we played touch football. Now we played basketball, not baseball. But then as far as and play soccer. But we couldn't play anything that really demanded you to have proper equipment because we didn't have it.
Did you have intramural sports of any kind? Or?
I don't know.
How did you develop a basketball team You had a gymnasium, apparently.
Yeah. We had a
But you did not
gymnasium.
have sports fields that were
No,
sports fields for outside sport.
No.
no.
We always went to Westminster High for like field day,
Track
Track
meets.
meets, yeah,
meets
yeah. We
and
went to
stuff.
other schools, but I
Other
mean,
schools, yeah.
like I say, we had fields, but they were hard.
Yeah.
And
Did you have any organizations that related to other organizations in the white community that you belonged to? Did you belong to the Negro Farmers of America?
I don't. In my time, I don't know of any Negro farmers in Carroll County.
No. Can't remember none.
It might have been in the earlier days, but as we came up, there weren't any.
'Cause we worked on a farm. I started
Ourselves,
working on
yeah.
a farm when I was 11 years old, and I don't remember having none of that.
You said that you were Boy Scouts.
Yes.
Was there any integration in your Boy Scout troop?
None.
No.
No.
Just blacks.
That came about as a black Army, retired Army person who came back. I think he was a sergeant at that time, and he and a couple of parents got together and started the Boy Scouts here.
The Boy Scout unit in this church?
No, not in this church, in this community.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was there
Well,
some?
it was White Rock, Johnsville,
Sykesville.
and White Rock, yeah, 3, White Rock, Johnsville, and Sykesville.
Did you have Sunday school here? What was
Every
that
Sunday.
like?
Yeah, every Sunday.
Every Sunday.
Every Sunday.
Yes,
You had to
And we
come.
had,
You had to come every Sunday.
that's right. And we had a principal, particularly in the summertime, who taught summer school, and very strict. Yes, you came to Sunday school.
Did you have any experiences where integration or lack of integration experiences as you were growing up? Something where you thought you could go into a restaurant and you didn't get served, or
One
something along
occasion,
those lines?
I guess I was probably 14 years old, and was working during the summer, so I had my own money. And I went to a restaurant downtown Sykesville, and again, no signs to say white, colored, or whatever, but you understood you weren't to be served. And I ordered a hamburger. And whether the waitress was new or what, I don't know, but she asked me, did I want to eat it there in the restaurant? Stunned at first, but then I said, okay, let me take her up on it. And I said, yes. And the owner came down in front of all the other patrons there who were white and said to the waitress, you know he cannot eat here. So I just left the hamburger at the shop and walked on out.
Was there any occasion where you participated in any part of the civil rights movement of the 60s?
Early 70s, I guess it was, with the NAACP. We challenged the Klan here in Carroll County. We got some political people together from Annapolis, the mayors of Westminster and Sykesville, and we met out here in Eldersburg to denounce the Klan activities here in Carroll County. That was probably the only thing that I was involved in back at that time.
What was the Klan activity at that time? Were they actively burning crosses or having rallies?
Well, they didn't burn any crosses that I know of, but they were shooting shooting up black houses, black-owned houses, right up here in Gamber.
Did that surprise people?
No. Didn't surprise any of us because we knew that, number one, Gamber was not a place for a black family to be, start out with. But however, it did happen, and as a result, the clans got together and shot up the house.
These were newcomers that were occupying
Newcomers,
the
yeah.
house?
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. But you would have thought the realtor would have told them,
Yeah.
or persuaded them to go some other place, but no.
And you were successful in getting,
Yeah, they kind of calmed down and they left Carroll County and went to Walkersville.
did you ever have any personal insults directed at any of you that you remember in school or?
Well, we didn't have it in school because we were all black.
Yeah, that, well, I should not have.
We, as I said earlier, when we go to a sports event, we had to fight our way out after we had beat them playing basketball. But those are some of the things we had to do.
Can you describe that a little more? I mean, they were roughing you up?
Well, they were calling us names and they wanted to fist fight and those kinds of things.
Well, let's see. I had it one time happen to me. I was down in Siceville, and people that lived up the road from me called the Obrets, which the road's named after. They was white, and we was pretty good friends. And so I was walking down the street in Siceville. A couple of whites started calling me names, and one of them happened to be standing there too. And he got on them for calling me names, told me, don't do that to them. He's not like be called that. So that's the only time I've ever had an instance happen like that. And I appreciated him.
Yeah. You didn't have any reason to fear for your safety because of hostility from
No,
white community?
not really.
Well, again, we knew what we could do and what we couldn't do. So we most times we didn't strand over that line, but it was always there. We knew it was always there. Particularly when we rode through Gamber, we knew we weren't just to look straight ahead and get out of town, but didn't hang around.
All right. How is it different today?
Is there any difference? I mean, you know, we would like to think it's better, but when you listen to these commentators on TV and look at or listen to some of the attitudes that some people have, I really don't think there's very much difference. It's just a different way in which it's coming out.
Is there anything you would like to add to what we've asked you today, or anything more you want?
No.
Mr. Gassaway, in your job as a truck driver, do you have any experience of racial problems going?
No. I never had that problem. You know, it's all you carry yourself the right way, you ain't gonna have no problem. But although in your mind you think things, but I never had. I just do what I'm supposed to do and get it over with, you know. But as far as having many problems, no, I've never had that.
Working for the state is different. We were working for Springfield Hospital. At that time, it had about maybe 1,200 or 1,300 employees, and probably 1.5% of that were blacks, and there were problems. You couldn't get a promotion. You couldn't eat but in certain areas. Those kinds of things we did experience. And as time went on, the blacks took a stand, and they were able to make some changes. But you could only work in the laundry or dietary at that time.
All right. Thank you
Okay.
very much. We appreciate you
All right.
spending your time doing this. Thank you.
You're welcome.